You're listening to That Home Loan Hub. I'm Zibuni Salimova, here to make home loans and property investing simple, smart and stress-free. Let's get you closer to your property dreams. Hello and welcome back to That Home Loan Hub. Zibuni Salimova here with you, with Ryan Bilby. Hello, Ryan.
Hiya, how are we doing?
Good. Today we're going to dive into your first home buying journey and all the experiences that you had. Thank you so much for coming in today, Ryan.
No worries.
So since the experience is so new and fresh, do you just want to tell us who you are, what you do, and we'll go from there?
Yep, so my name's Ryan Bilby. I'm a bakery manager at Buns in Paraparaumu Beach. And yeah, so I'm a baker for a living. And don't do much else apart from golf and bake.
That's a perfect combo. For those that haven't listened to the episode I did with Ben, there's actually one, so go back and listen to that. So Ben is your boss.
Yep.
And you were looking to buy a house. When did you start looking to buy a house?
Probably started looking to buy a house maybe 6 to 9 months ago. Sort of got the idea in our heads and didn't think we were in the right position to be able to do it.
Why did you think so?
Basically 5 years ago, had not a scratch of savings or any ambition to buy a house. And then the rental market is just going up and up and up. And then we have pets. Trying to find a rental with pets is such a hassle. So we thought, why not try?
Yeah. So you've got a partner.
Yep.
And she works for...
She works for Raumati Social Club.
Yes, and I know her boss as well.
Yeah.
So that was a really interesting situation where both of your bosses were telling you to go and see me.
Yep.
So
It was interesting, but probably the best thing I've ever done.
oh, thank you, Ryan. But let's go back a step. So you thought it's not possible because you didn't have enough savings or deposit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
How much deposit did you have, just roughly in percentages?
At that time, maybe 18%.
Yeah, okay. Which is still really good compared to a lot of other buyers that we deal with. Because sometimes, we deal with buyers that only have 5% or 10%. So 18% is actually quite a strong position.
Yeah.
But you thought it's not possible with 18%.
Yeah.
And this is why we're sitting here, to pass on this message of hope to others that are in a worse off situation, thinking they can't do it.
Definitely.
Okay, so you both had full-time jobs. The good things that you had going for you is you had full-time jobs.
Yep.
You had relatively good deposit.
Yep.
And what about your credit check?
I thought it was going to be bad, but it actually came back really good.
Yeah. Why did you think it was going to be bad?
Just past mistakes and bad habits and yeah.
Yeah. But it's good to see that, again, you thought that because of the credit check, it may affect your application. Did you run a credit check on yourself before coming to see me?
Definitely.
And then,
Definitely did. And then I was like, okay, I might have a shot.
yeah, awesome. Did Crystal do the same?
No.
She just
went with it.
She just went with it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so we had a low deposit, we had good incomes, and we actually had a surprisingly good credit check. So that's three things that we normally look at. In terms of debt, did you have much student loans or car loans or anything?
Didn't have any debt,
Yeah.
luckily.
Why is that?
We paid it all off over the last 5 years.
Yeah, before coming to see me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see anyone else before you came to see me?
Nope.
No. So you were just doing it on your own. Because you know what I remember about you? One time I was I wasn't at the bakery, I was next door or something, and my car was parked outside the bakery. And I think you came out because you recognized my car.
Yep.
And you said, I'm going to come and see you. But then another 9 months passed and you didn't.
Yep. Yeah, that was when I got that initial idea, like I'm going to go buy a house. And then, it sort of stemmed from there and took a little while to get in motion. Even once I started the application process, it was a bit slow for me, my end. But
Yeah. So let's talk about the application process, because this is where a lot of, first-home buyers feel a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
How did you find the application process?
it wasn't too bad. I had a lot of help along the way, but I'm not trying to fill the forms out on my phone wasn't the go.
Yeah.
But once I put it on the laptop, it was okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then collecting pay slips, bank
Oh,
statements.
that's all easy.
all easy, right?
Yeah.
So all in all, if we had to put a time limit on it, how long do you think it took you to put the application together?
Oh, me a little while. if you were tech savvy, you could have it together in a couple of days without a worry, really.
Yeah. Usually I say under an hour.
Yeah, no, not me.
Okay, all right. And so it wasn't too hard. It's easier if you're tech savvy, but it's actually not too hard. And I think we've tried to help you along the way as well, of holding your hand and telling you what sort of stuff we're missing. So that's good. Now, in terms of the house hunting process, let's dive into that a little bit.
Right, open homing every weekend. That was great fun. Just seeing how many people were actually going to the open homes, it was quite overwhelming. Like, you'd turn up to an open home, there'd potentially be 30 to 40 people there, and you're like, wow, like, how many offers are going to be on the table? Is my offer going to be right? Or there's just lots to think about. It is very overwhelming.
Yeah, and you did put an offer on the property.
Yeah, we put a couple of offers in. One came back with a bad building report, so we withdrew from that one. And then the other one we ended up missing out on by a little bit.
Yeah. The one that came back was the bad building report.
Yeah.
Obviously, you spend money on it, and you put your heart and soul into it, and it's like, damn, we actually had to pull back. Why did you get scared? Like, what was so bad about it that you thought, not going to buy this one?
It needed a whole new re-roof, and there was asbestos detected in things, and just a lot more maintenance than we thought was going to be having to happen. And
I guess as a first-time buyer, if you're already putting all of your deposit towards the house purchase, there's not much cash to play with.
No, not at all.
So you have to be careful with what properties.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to have that money sitting there to be prepared to be putting in offers.
Yeah.
Like, each time you're putting an offer, it's basically costing you $1,000.
Well, hopefully not.
If you're, getting your building report and your limb done, if your offer's successful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend to first-time buyers in that sense, if they're listening to this? And what did you learn?
Don't rush into it, but don't tell an agent how much your budget is either.
Because they will stretch you to the limit.
Oh, if they know, they will try and stretch you, yeah. That was one thing that we actually did pretty well on, and they were quite pushy with trying to get out of us, was getting a number. So don't give them a number.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Don't give them a number.
No.
Okay. Keep your cards close to your chest, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's really interesting because sometimes there are agents in town that I know of, for instance, and if they're asking, first-time buyers that are coming in, do you have an approval? Do you have a broker?
Yeah.
And normally you would say, Sibuni. So they usually know me. So they might give me a call as well, and they might say to me, hey, we had this couple come through, what's their budget?
Yeah.
Some of them are very cheeky like that. Yeah. And my stance is exactly the same. My loyalty is with you.
Yep.
I am your advisor, and I usually say to them, talk to the client. I cannot disclose. And the reason I'm raising this is that sometimes I see in all those Facebook forums that brokers and agents work really close together, and advisors have been mentioning what the clients are pre-approved for. And that's a huge no-no in my books. I may give a relative number, or I might say, they are pre-approved. And usually, to be honest, I downplay it as well. I usually say, they're pre-approved up to 700, but I know you are pre-approved 750 to 800. Yeah. So I try to, again, lower the agent expectations.
Definitely.
And I guess when they hear it from me, oh my God, I hope they're not listening to this one now. They're like, damn, I've just, given out my cards. But yeah, I just hope that in that sense, they know, okay, this is how much you can go. We're not going to push you any further, because I do want to leave that buffer aside for you.
Definitely.
To do those repairs and, make the home your home. Yeah. Okay. So you will go into open homes. How many open homes did you visit, you reckon?
Probably about 20 or 30.
Whoa.
Yeah, we went through quite a lot of houses.
Yeah.
We didn't want something that we had to spend money on once we moved into it, or have to do maintenance straight away. We just wanted to move in and be able to relax.
Yeah. Did you have like a checklist when you would go to open homes, of at least a mental one, of things that were important to you and things that were important to Crystal?
Well, it was mainly just garage and fully fenced.
I thought it'd be kitchen. I thought it'd be like a kitchen and an oven.
Both being cooks, it's hard to get motivated when you you get home and look at a kitchen, really.
Wow, so that's interesting. So I thought you'd be coming home and you'll be like cooking for each other and things like that. No?
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
We spend most of our lives cooking, so
Okay.
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I guess like a builder's house that's never finished.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got a two cooks house that never get cooked at. That's interesting. Okay, so garage was important to you. A section for
the dogs.
For the doggies, yeah?
Yep. So we've got a little bit of a section. We've got a garage big enough for a boat. So.
And when you were putting offers, did you have lawyers to help you out to do this?
Yep, I did. We have a family friend, luckily, that is a good lawyer, property lawyer. So we went through her.
So you knew what conditions to put in?
Yep.
They talked you through. So I guess the first one when you were putting was a bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, definitely. But after that, it was, I could just put my offer in and then talk to my lawyer about it later. Let her know that I've done this.
Yeah.
But as long as I had the conditions she set out at the start, she was more than happy.
Yeah. So as long as you replicated the conditions across.
Exactly.
And that's a very important topic.
Definitely. You need to have those conditions to safeguard yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you've put an offer and then there was an interesting moment between going conditional to unconditional.
Yep.
And I guess you didn't have 20% deposit, so we had to order registered valuation.
Yep.
And this is where the valuer goes out, looks at your property and gives us the price. And we were lucky that it came back.
It was good.
At the value. I think it just came back a bit even higher.
It was slightly
for you.
higher, yeah.
Yeah.
On the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. And then you go unconditional. We say, yep, cool, you can go ahead now.
Yep.
Unconditional. And that's when we sat down and we talked about the structure of your loan. And again, it's an interesting times that you're buying in because the OCR was changing, the interest rates are going down. So
that was a hard decision to lock in or to float until the next OCR update. But
yeah. So what did you end up doing?
We split it up and locked in for a year and 2 years.
Yeah. Why did you split it up, Ryan?
Certainty for the next year at least.
Yeah. And that's good. That's good, right? Because you both have stable jobs. You know exactly how much you're earning. So it's good to know exactly how much you're paying.
Definitely.
Towards your bills.
It helps to know, to be able to budget and then, to know how much you're able to save again once you've got the mortgage and whatnot.
Okay.
It's definitely the key.
Cool. What are the pitfalls that you sort of learned about along the way of, I could have done this better or that better? Oh, this was amazing and fantastic.
It was a pretty cool journey, really.
Oh, good.
But
even though you visited like 30 open homes.
Oh, you got to see what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's lots of different houses. They're all designed differently.
Yeah. Because you're both quite young, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to share how old you are?
33.
Yeah, and Crystal?
30.
Yeah. So you're a young couple trying to get on the ladder.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
Get this mortgage paid off ASAP.
Why is that important to you?
Just for future, want to get a rental home on top of this home.
Okay.
So start building up things, building up assets.
Yeah. Did you know you can use the equity in your home to buy the next house?
I do know that, yes.
Really? I've just done an episode on equity, so go back and listen to that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really good way to get on the ladder.
Yeah,
I always say to people that your first home is not your forever home.
No.
It's a stepping stone.
It definitely is.
Yeah. And then do you plan to have children in the future?
Potentially.
Yeah. And that's another thing, right? Like while you're still both working, no children, not big expenses, although dogs can be very expensive.
Yeah.
Try to pay as much as possible towards your mortgage.
Yep.
Get it down to a certain level. And then with the capital gains, as the property goes up in value, you have that equity.
Yeah.
And in a few years' time, we should be able to buy you
another house.
The next one. Are you going to come back to me?
Of course.
Yes. Yes, that's what I want to hear.
Definitely.
That's cool. The other thing we also discussed about when you buy a house is the importance of insurance. So obviously house insurance.
Yep.
Absolute must.
Definitely a must.
Yeah.
Contents, not so much a must for the mortgage side of things.
Yeah. And then we talked about life insurance and mortgage protection.
We did.
I'm looking at you.
We did talk about that.
Because if one of you is out of the picture, and that's where the important part is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, with one of us being out of the picture work-wise, it would be an absolute struggle to pay.
Yeah.
So
you're coming back to see me, right? To get that sorted.
I will be getting there.
Yeah. And that's another thing as well. When you're buying your first home, you've got so many expenses coming out of your ears. You've just lost your whole deposit to buy a house. So your cash reserves are depleted.
Yep.
And as you say, if you already paid for a few builders reports, LIM reports, lawyers, valuations, all that cash just goes out of the window.
It all adds up very quickly.
Yeah, and the first year I usually let my clients be in the way of trying to figure out the expenses. So we talk about setting up budgets, making sure you've got automatic payments for your rates, for house insurance, because these are the two you cannot miss, and the mortgage. Let's say your three absolute bills, the musts. And then everything else is sort of on top. Okay, you've got to keep your house running with power. Electricity has to go, water, internet. And then everything else is not a must.
No.
Well, food, I guess.
Oh, food's a must.
You just eat at work, Ryan. Ben, don't listen to this episode. If you suddenly see pies missing. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I mean, at least both of you are fortunate to be in the food industry. So, if there's something you can, some work package you have through work.
Yeah. We definitely both get benefits through work. That's awesome.
Yeah, because that's the highest cost at the moment.
It definitely is.
Yeah, and the price of butter. I think butter
we won't even go there.
No, but I think that's a hot topic at the moment.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah, $10 for a block of butter.
It's robbery.
What? And I'm like, when I first was coming to New Zealand is known to be dairy country.
Dairy country.
Right? We import New Zealand butter to my country. So in Tajikistan, New Zealand butter is like absolute bow down, the best butter ever. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm coming to New Zealand. I'll have a really cheap access to butter, lamb, cheese. And before we know it, it's like, whoa.
Skyrocketed.
It's cheaper to buy butter in my country now. New Zealand butter is cheaper in my country.
I can imagine.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
That is crazy. All right. So you've settled in. Have you painted any walls yet?
No. I haven't painted any. I haven't ripped any out.
Okay, good. Carpets?
It's all brand new.
Nice. Backyard? Have you got a lawnmower?
I've mowed it a couple of times already.
Nice. That's like the badge of honor of being a homeowner now?
Yep.
Of looking after your thing.
Yeah, fortunately, it's not too big like the last one.
Yeah. But it's so cool to see that you thought it's not possible to a point where it may be, and then it's actually, yes, it is possible.
Yeah.
How did it make you feel through this?
Absolutely amazing, and anything's really possible. It doesn't matter where you've come from or what your life story is. It can all be turned around. Yeah. Really.
Because some of us do some dumb stuff when we're younger.
Definitely.
In their 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the main thing is not to give up, right?
No, you got to keep at it.
Yeah. I always say to people, look, it's easier to do dumb stuff in your 20s and recover from it and set back on a good path of life when you're in your 30s. It's harder when you do dumb stuff when you're 60 and trying to recover from it. Still possible, but it's a bit harder.
It's a lot harder.
Yeah. Now, I'm absolutely proud of the journey that you had because I do know a bit more to your background.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to see someone like you succeed despite the challenges that you had. You put those behind you. You've made the good track of repaying your debt, trying to save as much money as possible, being good with money, not getting into any new debt. So that's awesome. That's really good to see of a young person. And you didn't really have much parents' help either.
A little bit.
Not like some parents give out, 100K, 200K to their kids. You didn't have that. So so it's good to see that you could do it with Crystal.
Yes.
Just combining your powers together. Yeah. Are you able to now save a bit more money as well while you paying your mortgage and your bills and stuff?
We're still able to save money, but not at the rate we were saving before we had the mortgage.
It's just what I'm trying to prove a point here is that for a lot of young people, they're scared to go into home ownership because they think once they buy a house, that's it. They can't do anything fun anymore.
That's not the case. I just got back from a weekend away at Wairiki International Golf Course. So
yeah, how did you do, by the way?
Not so good on that course, but the next day was not bad.
Okay. But that just proves the point, right? So you went away and you just bought a house a month ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, still able to go away, holiday, save,
Have
continue on with life, have fun, pay the mortgage,
fun. Yeah.
growth.
I love it. I love the mindset that you have, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming
No worries.
today. It's awesome to have you as a guest, and hopefully your message has shared a bit more hope to those that are struggling on the fence, thinking, can they do it or can they not?
I'd hope so.
Yeah. Any last words to the ones that are listening?
Just get out there, get saving and get it done. Get on the ladder.
Get on the ladder.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Ryan.
Brilliant.
Have a good one. And that's a wrap on That Home Loan Hub. Don't forget to hit subscribe and join me next time for more property tips and tricks. Your next smart move starts here.